y'all. My name is Jasmine Jones. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and you're now watching Black Girl Therapists in the Wild. And this is a little series I like to call Therapist Sips and Reviews. We are sipping and reviewing I May Destroy You, Season 1, Episode 8, Spectrum Border. And I am sipping on a Four Loko. Oh, college. Yes. Undergrad. Yes. I feel like this is necessary. This is an episode full of impulsive moments and regressions. Why not have a Four Loko to remind me of when I was my most impulsive and regressed? Not regressed. That was just... Y'all, this shit was some bullshit. In Italy, nigga, fuck you, bitch. I said what I said. Fuck that nigga. Fuck him to hell. Cause you know what? Not the actor. The actor played his part well enough to where I hate him. Hate is a strong word. I feel it in my spirit. Yes, I do. I hate that nigga. But yes, whoever watched the show knows why. Before we even get into it, fuck that motherfucker. Let's go through it. I'm an emotional person. I am expressive, blunt, and I say how I feel when I feel it. So you gonna get the raw tonight. I'm up. What is this? 14% alcohol. I'm not gonna drink all this. Don't worry. This shit is nasty. Okay, let's get started. So, Bella, we start off with, I'm gonna call her Bella because it's easier. Abbreviations are fun. Is in Theo's support group, and a woman is talking about being sexually harassed at work, and she's basically being gaslighted by her coworker who is telling her, what's she doing? Who is telling her that, what he's doing isn't a big deal and he's just never going to talk to her ever again. And she's just like, what the fuck is he talking about? All I did was tell him to stop. If that happens, I don't care how emotional you are, how much you wanted that person to be your friend, or how much that person is your friend. If you experience somebody harassing you, no matter who it is, and they start being all extra, I would have just been like, okay, well, I guess you'll never talk to me again. You're lost. I gotta go. I told you to stop, so I have to go now. So yes, if you want to consider this a big deal, instead of just stopping and letting this shit go, then that's none of my business. I have to go. But anyway, so she's telling her story. And then Bella, just poetry in motion. Michaela Cole, did she write this? Y'all let me know down in the comments. Did she write this script? She's a writer. Did she write this script? Because the way she explained how these motherfuckers will tiptoe on the border of your boundaries right into the gray area where you're stuttering and you're not sure, and then they'll gaslight you into push you further into the gray area of being unsure. And she's saying how you need to fucking grab these niggas by the neck and let them know that you see the violation and you're not stupid. And the way she explained it was just poetry in motion. It was beautiful. So if she wrote this script or had a part in, I think she produced it. So, I'm assuming, she's an amazing person, writer, wonderful. She made me hate that nigga. She made me hate that nigga. Despise. Anyways, we shoot over to Arabella, Terry, and Kwame in the park. And Kwame is talking about how sexuality is a spectrum and all this other stuff. And, Arabella's just like, well, I just like dick. So, because he's like, you guys don't understand because you're straight and shit. And Arabella's like, I'm not straight. I just like dick. And so Kwame has come up with this bright idea that he's going to have sex with a woman since he can't be around men now. maybe, I don't know if he feels like it'll fix him or because he still has sexual urges that are tied to his trauma and he has trouble overcoming them or whatever, but he has the bright idea to have sex with some woman. And don't use sex as a way to heal yourself from trauma right after the trauma, because you still need to process through the emotions. Now, sex can be used later on down the road. Like, people use BDSM for that type of shit, power and control, learning how to feel like you're in control again and things like that. But usually they have to work themselves up to that level of being able to let somebody touch them and learning how to be in control again during the sexual activities. Kwame just trying to jump into some bitch bed thinking it's going to make it better. Right after he's been sexually assaulted. So he's told Arabella at this point. And Arabella's just like sitting there fucking with him, talking about my brother's penis, and then noticing the facial expression Kwame has. And then she goes, boobs and vag. And then he has this look of like disgust on his face. And then she's like, look, you look disgusting. So she fucking with him because she know he gay. Like, he doesn't like, women like that, So then Kwame's phone rings and it's some white woman. So apparently he set up some date that night with some white woman and he's going to try his luck at magically healing his trauma with this white vagina. Acting on impulse, especially when it involves other people, is not the greatest idea because other people come with a bunch of other shit that you may not know about because you don't know them like that. You think you know them like that. And this is what this episode is about. Relying on other people to heal you. The quick relief of something to heal you from your trauma. It doesn't work like that, baby. You got to sit with it. Go through it. It's like taking a huge shit. Just backed up for like a month or just in there. You're going to be on the toilet for a good hour and might even have to go back to the toilet again to get it out. And that is what your trauma is like. Your body is made to expel shit, right? So it's made to expel sweat, waste, tears, your hair fall out eventually and shit like that. So why you think it's not made to expel emotions? It's going to take time. And people, when you get the shock of trauma, you just want that shit to go away as soon as possible. You want things to go back to normal. You will never go back to normal. You will either be trapped in your trauma or you'll be a newly healed person that has grown from it. Something new has grown from it. Something new and hopefully positive. So, yeah. But, we see in this episode the impulsiveness of people that are trying to shake off their trauma as soon as possible, whatever they can find. At least they're not using drugs, So I feel like even though these experiences have been painful for them in this episode, they didn't use drugs. So, we can bounce back a little bit easier because our body isn't chemically addicted to shit. So anyways, because that's another trial and error that you got to get through on top of the trauma that you got to go through to get out of you. So anyways, we go to Arabella. She's at the park and then her phone rings and then it's the police station. So they go in the police station and there is the counselors for Arabella's case. And they're both pregnant. It's just like, oh my gosh, okay. I don't know what that's about, but they're both pregnant. So I guess that's cool. It's been about 9 months since since what happened to Arabella. So they're both about to have their baby soon at some point. And they're there to just read the timeline of the case to Arabella. So they're telling her like what happened, the DNA testing they did, what happened with the DNA testing. They said that so they explained why they had to test Bergoglio, Italy nigga. They explained it. And basically because they couldn't run the DNA through the system because it was so little of it spread across the sweater from Simon, they had to test some other niggas to see if the other niggas' DNA matched to the the sperm or whatever. So they tested Italy, stupid motherfucking bitch. And his DNA didn't match. And then they tested the guy that they said had raped her because he had a history of doing that. And his DNA didn't match. Not saying that he didn't rape her if it's the same dude that she's flashing back to. But it's not he didn't get his sperm on her jacket. So we're back to the possibility of Simon and his nigga cousin who is trash and looks like a henchman. You know, all of them having some kind of situation going on where Alyssa and Arabella both were drugged that same night. Okay, so Arabella fucking snaps. You know, she's very fragile right now. After an assault, even at 9 months after, she's going to therapy every month. I think what she was holding on to was the fact that the dude was caught. So at least she felt some vindication, some justice for what happened to her. Like, she felt like this ended because he was caught. But now he's still out there. No telling if she's worried about him finding her. No telling if she's worried about him doing it to somebody. Who knows what's going through her mind at this point in time. So Arabella is just something inside her snaps. All that shit she's been working on. And that is why when you go into the journey of healing, you go into the journey of healing for nobody else but yourself, because you will always have yourself. So the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations of healing will be all on you, and you can support you through it. If you go into it on the back of somebody or something else, that something else could change. You don't know the 100% answer to that something else. That something else could flip-flop, change, turn around, do a bunch of other shit, and then where are you? Because you were putting your healing on something that was not you. You know, the responsibility of your healing, I guess I should say, because you still need like friends and people to support your growth, but you still need to be the foundation of your growth. So her foundation was the fact that she thought that nigga was in jail, was going to jail. There was justice was going to be served. She was going to be vindicated. Something good was happening here. So they closed the case, and Arabella is sitting in the police station for a smooth hour, just in shock. She's re-traumatized again. You know, going right back to where she was the night, maybe the day after she was raped, because she didn't remember the night. So Terry's there with her. She went to the police station with her. And Terry's just like, you know, you need self-care. You need, you know, let's get out of the police station. We've been here an hour. Arabella has the clothes that she wore the night that she was raped. They gave her all her stuff back. So she has to touch that shit, being re-traumatized again. Once when the dude didn't go to jail. Twice when she got to see them fucking clothes again. Terry is just like, we need self-care. Let's get out of here. Let's take care of ourselves. Arabella is like, I don't have any money. She maxed out all her credit cards. So she's been overspending. So in little ways, even though she had regained some confidence, you could see that there were cracks in the stuff. There was cracks here, you know, with the overspending, spending all her money, not being able to focus on her writing. She was trying to get through this quickly in certain ways, but I think the group was helping her slow down for a little bit. But now it's just like she's falling the fuck apart. So she tells Terry that she wants a plane ticket. She wants to go to Italy. And Terry's like, why do you want to go to Italy? You need people around who can affirm you. Italy nigga is a hypocrite. He said that, you know, you were a drug addict, but at the same time sold you drugs and all this other shit. And then I think Arabella kind of knows that Terry's a hypocrite behind her back, because she goes, well then, what about if you're not affirming me? You know, does that make you, you know, a hypocrite? And something else, I forgot what else she said, a hypocrite and controlling and a hypocrite. So I think Arabella is aware of Terry's faults and the type of situations that she could end up in when Terry like leaves her places and stuff like that. I don't think she knows that Terry told Simon to leave her at the bar. But I think maybe there is a pattern of behavior that probably spans back in their friendship that made Arabella say some shit like that. Now, yes, she could have been saying it because Terry was not affirming her and going to see Italy, nigga. Why would she call her a hypocrite? What does that have to do with Terry not affirming her to go and see Italy, nigga? So obviously there's some shit going on and Arabella's aware of it. She's just been forgiving her friend and letting her slip by and with the bullshits that she's been experiencing with her. Because, you know, we like to forgive our friends and accept our friends. And, you know, I haven't ended up in a bad situation like that because she's abandoned me somewhere. So it's not that big of a deal. You know, make it right in our minds. But she doesn't know that she told Simon to leave her at that fucking club. And Simon, evil motherfucker, left her at who knows what happened. You know what? Fuck that. Because Alyssa was, you know what? Arabella's surrounded by a lot of people that have a lot of issues. While she also has issues. And it's just a pot of people with issues. And there are situations that are being gotten into that are dangerous because of these issues. So Arabella leaves, and then she is searching every crack and crevice of her room to find money to go and see Italy, nigga. I'm assuming it's like, what, $50 to get there? I mean, in American money, is it $50 to go to London to Italy? Because, you know, shit, like a bitch want to move to Europe because this fucking place. No, I want to go to Africa. Fuck that shit. Go to Ghana. They be giving that. They give free citizenships in Ghana, y'all. I'm just saying, okay? They said all y'all African Americans can come the fuck home. All that, I wanna go home if I could afford it and had the ability to do so, but you know, I'm stuck here in this place with the fucking Cheeto Trump nigga, whatever the fuck. So, she ends up in Italy. And then we go to Kwame on his date with this white woman. And I stress white woman because later on we shall talk about that. And they're just chit-chatting back and forth, you know. I don't know, they was chit-chatting at the dinner table. They didn't talk about shit. Then we go to Arabella. She is trying to sneak into Italy nigga's house. No, she is in a taxi. The taxi's slowly rising in price. So she stops the taxi because she only got a few dollars. I'm going to say dollars. I don't know what they call it in Italy. And so she gets off the taxi. She hoops it the rest of the way. She's also wearing I think it's the same pair of pants and the same and Simon's sweater. So she's wearing the clothes that she got raped in. So what's happening here is that she's regressing. Sometimes when we experience something conflictual or traumatic, we want to go to the space that we feel most comfortable, even if that space is toxic to us and hurtful. It's comfortable. We're used to it. We kind of know what'll happen when we get to that space. Even if Italy nigga treats me fucked up sometimes and says fuck shit sometimes, I'm used to that. I feel comfortable here. I don't know what actually going back to therapy and talking about that, because I was going to therapy on the basis that, you know, this nigga was in jail. I wasn't going on to therapy on the basis that, you know, I need to heal for myself. I was sitting there cocky and shit, thinking that I got some rapist nigga arrested. That's what the fuck was happening. And so now that's gone. Why go back? You know, what if they see through my disguise of possible cockiness, you know, and shit like that. So she's wearing the wig, the sweatshirt, and the pair of pants, and possibly even the shoes that she was sexually assaulted in. Just full regression back to, you know, the type of person that she was before she was assaulted, or when she was assaulted. So she's trying to sneak into this nigga's house because her phone international minutes are gone. She can't afford to buy more. She doesn't have any money. So basically, if this shit goes south, she is stuck in Italy. So she sneaks into his house. He has a key and some potted plant and whatever, and it's sitting there waiting for him. And then we go back to Kwame and his date. They're walking to her house. She is asking him, what race of girls do you like? Do you like black girls? Do you like white girls? Do you like such and such girls? Or do you like Greek girls? Because I'm a Greek bitch. And he's like, well, I like all type of women and all type of people and all sorts of shit. And she's like, and he's like, well, what do you like? And she's like, I like black guys. And she's like, can't you tell? You're walking me home, you know. She's like, I like aggressive black guys or some stupid shit that she said, because she's racist. She's really a racist on the inside, and she's also a homophobic person. So basically, you know, this white woman that he decided to try his luck with on the vagina front is a homophobic. We'll get to that part. And she's also a racist. You know, one of those liberal type racists where they say stupid shit, but, you know, it's like in a naive type way, like they don't know what the fuck they're saying. Okay, so fetishist. There you go. She fetishizes black men. She only likes black men. So then we get to Arabella. She sat there and waited for this nigga to come in the door, and Italy nigga gets in there and he's just looking at her like, what the fuck are you doing here? What the fuck is happening? You're crazy. And she's just like, no, I know, but you like it that I'm crazy, boo. And then she apologizes to him for him having to take a DNA test because she, you know, she thinking that she got this nigga arrested. She did some shit. She was feeling cocky about that shit. This was not coming from a place of genuine individualistic need to heal. This was coming from a place of, I got this nigga arrested. I saved the day. I did something and people like me for it. And so he's just looking at her like, you crazy, blah, blah, blah. Shoot back to Kwame. He on the bed. This bitch is touching on him, trying to pull him down. And he's just looking like nervous and shocked and all and scared and not wanting to really do this shit. So they get on the bed and they start fucking. And then Kwame ends up in the same sexual position that his assaulter was. So he's laying on top of her and she's telling him to, like, you know, fuck her aggressively and shit, like, and shit. And he's like, you know, fucking her aggressively. Just because you're not necessarily sexually attracted to somebody doesn't mean that your body's not gonna automatically do some shit if you tickle its fancy. So, you know, if you tickle the genitals will probably do some shit. Doesn't mean that you want to, though. But he's going in trying it. So, you know, whatever. So he's having flashbacks because he's in the same position as his rapist on top of her. She's holding her hands down and all sorts of shit. And he's having flashback to his sexual assault and all sorts of shit going through his mind. They finish. Then we go back to Arabella at Italy bitch's house. And she's just apologizing for having him get the DNA test, and she was sitting there writing something while he was gone, and she was like, he's like, can I read it? And she's like, no, don't read it, and da-da-da, and all sorts of shit. And then she was like, I ordered a pizza for you so that you could have pizza and all sorts of shit. And she went downstairs to get the pizza, spent all her money, and plus some money he gave her because she didn't have enough, and came back upstairs. This nigga locked her out that fucking house, apartment, whatever the fuck it was. And she just like, the door is locked. I'm assuming that you did this on purpose, you know. Can you at least tell me why? Nothing. He's not responding to anything she says. And then she's like, maybe because he asked her how long she was staying before she went downstairs to get the pizza. And she was like, as long as you want me to, daddy, you know. And so she's at the door knocking, like, I think you might have thought I was being too intense when I said as long as you want me to. I have a ticket to fly back home tomorrow. Oh, I left my passport in your room. Blah blah blah. You need to open the door so you can give me my passport. This nigga slid that passport under that door, and she went the fuck off. She was like, I know the fuck you ain't, bitch. You ain't, you's a bitch. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and all sorts. She went the fuck off. She started kicking the door, trying to kick the door down, and she got some strong legs. That door looked like it would have opened if she kept kicking it. And this nigga opened the door, and he got a gun, y'all. And he got that look in his eye that if she make one wrong move, he gonna shoot this bitch. And I'm just like, I mean, maybe he thought she was, it don't matter. It doesn't matter, because the thing is that when she was in his apartment, he was like being nice to her, hugging her, making her think that everything was fine and shit like that. And then for him to open the door and have a gun and shit, like, I just feel like, what was the thought process here? I mean, you could have just nicely told her to go home and got her on a plane and got her the fuck up out of there. Just let her know face to face, like, hey, I can't. I'm not. You're bigger than her. If she were to act up, you could have got her the fuck out of there in a nicer way. I feel like this is some bullshit that he's trash, and this was unnecessary, and it's fucked up. It's fucked up, It's fucked up. It didn't have to go down like that. You didn't have to fake comfort her. Have her spend all her money. I mean, maybe he didn't know. I think he knew, because she didn't have enough money to pay for the pizza. So he knew. Maybe he thought it was just in cash. Maybe he didn't know that she just didn't have money. Maybe he thought she had a card, but she didn't have that much cash. Whatever. And then lock the door on her and shit like that. You didn't have to do that shit like that. It don't matter if, maybe it was triggering for him. Maybe that's some shit that his sister pulled when she was high or some shit. Or his dad pulled when he was high. But the thing is, you sell drugs to motherfuckers. You're a hypocrite. Anyways, it didn't have to go down like that. He could have got her on the plane, told her the truth to her face, said, I don't like you like that. I'm not interested in you like that. You being here like this is upsetting for me, and I need you to leave. So how can I help you get back home? Communication is key. I understand if people been triggered. I understand if people been traumatized and been through shit. But no, nigga, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't. Fuck that nigga. I have no excuses for that nigga. I'm done. That nigga ain't shit. So, we get back to Kwame fucking this white bitch. And they're done. They're laying there on the bed and they're talking. And then they start rapping this song. And instead of saying nigga, she says ninja. And he's just like, what the fuck? Like, so why don't you say the N-word? And then, she starts talking about gay people, and then she used the F word because it's a word for the cigarettes and shit. And she's like, I can't even say the F word for cigarettes because I'm scared some gay dude's gonna have a seizure and shit. And he's just looking at her like, oh shit. So he's like, what are you talking about? You can't say the F word. And she's talking about, oh, see, you don't say the F word and shit like that. And stop it. And she like started talking shit about how gay men are like female appropriators and all sorts of shit. And so Kwame, I wouldn't have told her I was gay at that point, because obviously she has something against gay people. I would have just up and left. So Kwame tells her that he's gay because he's feeling offended at this point, and he needs her to know that he's gay. And she is just, she's disgusted that he's gay. She thinks he tricked her or some shit. And it's like, some people are like that. I'm not saying it's right, but some people feel that way, that they feel like if Like, they don't want to have sex with men that have sex with men. I mean, I'm not saying it's right. It's not right to fucking, this nigga ain't bringing other niggas into the room and fucking them and shit in front of you. This nigga, you consensually had sex with this nigga and he happens to like niggas. And so it's like, you ain't got to make him feel like shit for it. But apparently she felt some type of way. She felt tricked. She was appalled and upset by the fact that he's gay and she was his first woman and all this other stuff. And he trying to explain to her that sexuality is on a spectrum and all this other shit. So I feel inside he might now feel like he assaulted somebody or did something to somebody without them knowing because of the way she acted. But I feel like, yes, people can be upset by that and possibly even feel assaulted or whatever by that. But it's like if a nigga eats hamburgers and you're a vegan and you don't know that the nigga eats hamburgers and you're a vegan. What is the fuck does that have to do with the fact that you just had sex? But whatever. So he leaves, and then Arabella she went to the beach that Italy nigga took her to when they first met, and she doing all these extras trying to get into that gate. I'm just like, why don't you just climb the gate and climb over? But she's thin enough and she squeezes through some slats in the gate and gets into the beach. And then she sits down on the beach and she's crying and all sorts of shit, and then she just sits there. And then we go to Kwame, and he got a message from somebody on Grindr, and he was like telling him that he's horny and he wants him to come over and shit. Is some dude on Grindr, random nigga. And then Kwame ends up going to meet this dude that messaged him on Grindr. Then we go back to Arabella at the beach. She is stuck in Italy. Her phone isn't working. It's not, she ain't got no international minutes, so she can't text or call anybody. So she is feeling completely and totally abandoned, I'm sure. And she looks up, and it's morning. She slept all night on the beach, scrunched up like a little baby in a fetal position and shit. And then she still got on Simon's sweater, whatever the fuck. And she gets up, and then she walks into the water. Now I'm assuming that she's trying to attempt suicide or self-harm. I'm sure that it doesn't go through because in some of the promo pictures, she's coming out of the water and she's soaking wet. So, I'm sure that didn't happen. And then that's the end of it. So Arabella is seriously traumatized, re-traumatized, not just by the guy not being arrested and not being found and not knowing whose sperm that was on her sweater. So that means it's probably multiple people that had sex with her, because it's not the guy that, was caught. So who knows? Still don't know what happened that night. Still don't know for sure what happened. I still think Simon and his evil ass cousin is involved. They're trash, But at this point, we know that we can't just go by one episode. These episodes are all connected, so we may think one thing about one episode, and then the next episode just shows the rest of it. So we're slowly peeling back layers of bullshit of what happened that night and how Arabella was, what happened to Arabella and all sorts of shit. Kwame, of course, continues to use sex as a healing balm. So, that's not going to work. That's what he's been doing ever since he was first assaulted as a child. And nothing's changed. He hasn't grown out of, whatever happened to him. He just continues to use the same coping skill to get past emotional pain. Arabella used the coping skill of going to some toxic ass nigga. I'm going to go to the pain that I know and that I'm used to, and, hope that I get comfort there. And this toxic ass nigga, whatever triggered him, he's toxic. He's trash. Turned out to be toxic, just like he, you don't pull a gun on somebody. I don't care. Why are you pulling a gun on her? What did she do? I mean, she kicked the door. Yes, she did. She kicked the door. You could have literally opened the door and just told her to leave. Grabbed her, Made her stop. You're bigger than her. You're stronger than her. Whatever, whatever, whatever. I think that shit was dumb. So, apparently more happened that night than we thought it did. I feel like, let's test Simon's DNA. Why you just don't close the case? Why don't you test everybody's DNA that was there? How about that? How about Simon and his cousin? Why aren't you testing them? Why would you just close the case? Why would you just say, oh, we're going to close the case because the DNA didn't match the person that we thought it matched, but we're not going to test anybody else that was there. We're just going to let it the fuck go. So it's like, and it's like a blank spot in your mind. Like, you don't know who did what to you. You just did things to your body and shit. This shit was triggering. I feel a type of way. It's like everybody is a mess and things keep happening, and I hope by the end of this, and no spoilers, but I hope by the end of this everybody gets the help they need and the healing they need. Every single body in this show, and yeah, that was I May Destroy You, Season 1, Episode 8, Spectrum Border. Let's see, how did the title go with the show? Well, sexuality is a spectrum, and that's what Kwame was talking about in the first part of the show, and then he went and tried to talk this white woman into thinking that sexuality was a spectrum, and then she felt like she had been assaulted or tricked or whatever the fuck. I mean, you can't help how people feel. You can't help how people react to shit. If she felt she was tricked or assaulted or something like that, for all he knows, she could call the police and say he raped her because, do a whole Emmett Till on his ass because she felt like he lied to her. And that's some trash, Kwame ain't out here doing fuck shit. Like, he's gay, so what does that have to do with y'all having a one night stand? But if she felt like he tricked her and that triggered her to feel assaulted, who knows what the fuck she's gonna do. So sexuality is a spectrum, but everybody don't feel like you feel, and they will react based off of their emotions, not based off of morality and the fact that you didn't do anything. You just fucked consensually, and then she felt some type of way because you were gay. Border, I think it goes to that gray area, that they were talking about in the beginning. Tiptoeing into the gray area. Like, a lot of parts in this show is tiptoeing in the gray area. Terry being in a threesome and then realizing that those dudes knew each other and planned this. Kwame fucking this white woman and then her feeling some type of way about him being gay. A lot of parts in this show is the gray area. Arabella's shit was in the gray area. She was full on assaulted. There was something bad happened to her. Something bad happened to Kwame and things like that. So it's like, it's interesting to see the gray areas of what can be considered assault and being taken advantage of and things like that. Because the way that white woman reacted, she reacted in a way that she felt she was being taken advantage of. I can't dictate her emotions, whether I think she's wrong or right. Her feelings are she's still gonna feel what she feel. So I don't feel like it's right to invalidate it because she feels some type of way about gay people, and so the fact that she had sex with somebody that's gay made her feel like she was lied to. And since she felt like she was lied to, it tiptoes into that gray area because they had sex, and so she feels like he tricked her. So I can't invalidate that emotion by just being like, oh, you're wrong for feeling the way you feel, but more so, how can we help you come out of that emotion and not feel assaulted or something? I don't fucking know. I don't know. Who cares who the nigga fucked before? You know, I used to feel some way about gay niggas and bi niggas and shit, but then I learned, who cares who the nigga fucked before? Do you have diseases or not? That's what matters. Do you like me or do you not? I had to go through a learning process of understanding that people are still people, no matter what. So, she ain't been through that process. She racist, she a fetishist, and she homophobic, and so now she feels like she's sexually assaulted. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully she don't Emmett Till him and then say she was raped because she felt some type of way about him being gay, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, that was the episode. I'd love to hear your comments. Share, like, and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed this review, and later days.